Absent of a birth certificate, absent of a legitimate birth certificate, and if you go back to the very beginning when this started, Sheriff Arpaio called it from the very beginning, show me the microfilm. We do not have a single document, absent of that birth certificate, which we do not believe was ever an authenticated document, that proves Mr. Obama's birth in Hawaii or anywhere else in the United States for that matter. We have to see some more information. We would like to see hospital records. We would like to see microfilm. And let me emphasize, a single roll of microfilm or a single picture of microfilm is not going to be enough. We would want to forensically examine that roll of microfilm. It can be age tested. We would like to see the documentation that Hawaii has, and we would like cooperation. At this juncture, we've advised Sheriff Arpaio that we believe this should be a full-blown criminal investigation because a fraud has been committed in Maricopa County and the state of Arizona. The document is fake. The representations, therefore, are fake. We've asked him for some additional help. We've asked him to provide other resources from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. That is under review and consideration by him, and I'm sure I'll have that decision for you shortly. At this point, I would like to conclude and ask Mr. Corsi to step up. He has some information for you as well. Thank you. Mr. Corsi just reminded me of another development. It happened quite recently, and I do want you all to be aware. It's going to be in your press release. We have identified a person of interest in the forgery of the birth certificate. We are not prepared to give you any more information than that, but we have identified an individual. That is also under Sheriff Arpaio's consideration. Thank you.
I'm Jerry Corsi, a reporter with WND.com. And first, if you'll permit me, I want to express my personal sadness at the passing of Andrew Breitbart, a fellow reporter. I would like to express sympathy for Joseph Farah and the entire WND.com staff. Andrew Breitbart was a courageous friend whom we all admired, and we greatly miss him. It was very interesting, but last night at 5 o'clock, I received a call from Andrew Breitbart's office. They were seeking to interview Sheriff Arpaio, and I arranged an interview with Sheriff Arpaio with Andrew Breitbart, which turns out may have been his last interview. And of course, I was honored to be able to do that. It'll be a treasured memory. Sheriff Arpaio gave an early interview and discussion of what we're talking about today to Andrew Breitbart because of the deep respect we have for him. My remarks are going to be short. I want to give you some of the background. I was invited in August last year with the surprise Arizona Tea Party to give a presentation. The surprise Tea Party had prepared a petition. Some 250 signatures were obtained to go to see Sheriff Arpaio to ask him to undertake the investigation. I came with the Tea Party members to a meeting in Sheriff Arpaio's office. The sheriff told us that he would consider the request, and a few weeks later he constituted the cold case posse with the authority to begin the investigation. In October, as the investigation began, I came to Maricopa County and spent a weekend, 18 hours, sharing information. I brought all the research I had accumulated on the issues of Barack Obama's birth certificate and eligibility to be president. I can tell you that the investigators were skeptical, not enthusiastic to undertake the investigation, and that I came with a stated determination to find the truth. I was willing and remain willing to have been found wrong by the law enforcement investigation on everything I've researched and written about Barack Obama's birth certificate and his eligibility to be president to this point. This is not a politically motivated inquiry. It's an inquiry for truth. That's why I feel privileged to have participated with a dedicated law enforcement team that has been organized by Sheriff Arpaio and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. The commitment I made to the cold case posse was that my research, as I continue to develop it, would be first turned over to the posse and not published even in WND.com so as not to compromise the investigation. And I've continued to do that. I want it to be very clear that I was not present in the dozens of interviews to corroborate information, the additional affidavits and searching that the posse has done. I participated only when I could contribute or had something to offer. And I participated in none of the deliberative meetings of the posse and did not seek to do so. It was not part of the decision-making process whatsoever. The role as a journalist was involved that I continued to function as a journalist, but since this had developed in a way where the law enforcement investigation was going to take hold, Joseph Farah, the founder and creator of WND.com, made the editorial decision to allow me to continue to work closely with the cold case posse without compromising either our journalistic integrity or intruding upon the law enforcement investigation. We at WND.com just considered that since a law enforcement group duly constituted was going to be looking at the issue, we were honored to have that level of attention and seriousness, and we committed ourselves to work with the cold case posse, as we will continue to commit in the same capacity to work with Sheriff Arpaio as long as the sheriff invites us to do so. So I want to thank you very much and want to make sure everyone had an opportunity to understand from our point of view exactly what has happened. Thank you very much.